Are we on?
Good Tuesday evening, everyone, and welcome in to the Sports Blitz, Lake Martin Sports Roundup show. Adam Blankenship and Scott Hardy here with you for the next hour, 6 to 7, as we are each and every Tuesday, and we appreciate you guys tuning in. We have a very exciting show for you tonight, and we'll go ahead and kind of give you a rundown of some of the things that we'll be talking about. As always, this show is a local show, and we try our best to accommodate anything that's going on locally. So we'll have a local sports recap, and some of that will include updates on former players around the Lake Martin area, Ronnie Stacy and Xavier Moon, who are playing on the collegiate side, as well as kind of a recap of the Benjamin Russell and Coosa game on Friday, give you some updates on that. We'll give you our thoughts on player skipping bowl games. That seems to be a hot topic around the country right now, so we'll kind of dive into that and talk a little bit about Christian McCaffrey as well as Leonard Fournette, and kind of the importance of bowl games as well. Them skipping it, does that show a lack of importance? It's really one of the only sports where the postseason really isn't as important as the regular season unless you make it to the championship game. And also we'll talk about the running back position going into the NFL. Would you spend a top 10 pick on Leonard Fournette or any running back for that matter in the first round or top 10 picks or whatever? I think that Adam and I kind of agree on this one. And Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco, made his way around the Fox News or Fox Sports Network today, and some of the questions that came up were, his performance during his 11-year career. Is it Hall of Fame worthy? And we'll have something very special as well. We'll have an interview with Margaris Buchanan, who just committed, and we'll let him talk a little bit about that. And finally, Adam and I have something pretty funny that he came up with today, and we'll be doing letters to Santa from an Auburn and Alabama perspective. So I wrote it from an Alabama perspective of what I think Alabama fans wish for, and Blank will do it from a perspective of an Auburn fan, and I think you guys will enjoy that as well. And again, this segment is brought to you by Radney Funeral Home, and we appreciate them, as well as all of our sponsors being a part of the show. And again, if you have anything you'd like to talk about, 256-234-6221. But Adam, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing pretty good, man. The week of Christmas, it's cold outside. Baby's sick, so that's not a good thing.
Man.
But other than that, it's been pretty solid. Just getting everything, getting the Christmas spirit going. I almost had my Santa Claus hat on tonight. Might dye the beard.
I thought about it.
Might dye the beard white. You never know, man.
Well, it's going. I like what you got going on here.
I kind of feel like a terrorist, but
no, I mean, I want to. I'd like to kind of grow mine out more, but I don't have the patience to deal with kind of like the ugly stage of the beard. Yeah, there's that rough stage where it's like, it's kind of patchy.
I can decide if I'm in the ugly stage now or if it's just how it is.
It looks good, man. I saw the family photos from the weekend. Some pictures y'all had taken. So you and the wife and baby looking good as always. So again, we're very excited for the holiday season, Christmas, as well as the New Year coming up. So we have some good things coming up for you. And again, we're getting you primed for the 7 to 9 show with Andy, Luke, and Brett tonight. And they'll talk a little bit about what's going on the Auburn, Alabama scene, as well as some of the things in the high school level as well. But as we said, this is a local show, and we'll start first with the Coosa Central Benjamin Russell game. And for those of you who aren't familiar, that are maybe listening outside of our Alex City and Rockford area, that game when we were growing up was the highlight of everything that we would hope for in a basketball game. But Michael was letting us know that we do have a call. So, caller, thanks for joining us on the Lake Martin Sports Roundup.
Hey, it's Johnny.
Hey, Johnny, how you doing,
Johnny?
man?
I'm doing all right. I just thought I'd give y'all a call. Run team rose tonight. It's been rose tonight. They have run match. They ran Hopeful 3. I think they beat Hopeful. And they ran O'Brien second. I don't know how they gonna outget O'Brien high school, but I just thought I'd let you know they had two run teams downhill today. And our run team, I think they won both matches, but I'm not real sure on that.
All right,
I
Johnny.
just thought I'd call and let y'all know that, update y'all on that.
All right, you expect anything big? Hey, Johnny, you expect anything big for Christmas? Anything you want Santa to bring you?
No, sir. No, sir.
No, sir.
I read.
Well,
That's pretty easy right there, Johnny.
Yeah.
That's not really hard to get along with at all.
No, sir.
all right. Well, Johnny, as always, we appreciate the update. And how's the JV basketball team doing, girls team?
They got out 13-0. They were at game with Saturday ran all Canada for that play. They beat them and they wound up at 13-0. And on flip side, the ninth grade team won their WAC game too. So Coach, what's name, ninth grade boy, Coach done a good job this year. Sean done a good job with the ninth grade team. I think they all 4 games. I think they won 9, so that was pretty good for them kids too.
Absolutely.
The JB girl wound up 13-0. They did not lose games at all.
All right. Well,
So
Johnny.
that was good, and they fought.
All right. Well, Johnny, we appreciate the update, man. You have a Merry Christmas.
You too, y'all. Have a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thank
too,
you.
Johnny.
Thank you.
And I'll talk to y'all way on. Bye-bye.
See you, Johnny. And
That's
that
kind of
is,
surprising that JV and ninth grade's already kind of wrapping up their seasons.
yeah, ninth grade
fast,
lasted
right?
like a month, and that's it. So,
seems so
but Coach Shannon Benefield is who he was referring to, and he did do a great job. And that's something we've talked about. That ninth grade class is very athletic. They had a really good football season, and then it's transitioned over, and that class has been playing all of their sports together. And that's something that we kind of did growing up, but you're really starting to see it now. More people are on these groups of kids that are multi-sport athletes. They've all been playing together. So, again, congratulations to the JV girls team for going undefeated, as well as the ninth grade basketball team finishing up 9-4 on the year for them. But again, talking about the Central Coosa and Benjamin Russell basketball game, I have to say the atmosphere has died down a little bit. I mean, definitely there was a tremendous amount. Now, there were a lot of people there, and but it just doesn't seem like it's as important to everybody. Even if you're not a basketball fan, that's something that you went to in high school. Now, granted, there was people, 30, 40 people standing outside, so the game was packed itself. But just the enthusiasm from both fans, for both groups of fans, didn't really appear to be what it was when we were coming through.
It used to have so much energy in it to the point where you almost had to let the doors open. You had to let some of it out, just because it was just so wild.
That's a good call,
how did everything go? I know you were texting us a little bit during the game talking about it, but I never got a chance to talk to you about it.
Yeah, well, the Cougars took 2 out of 3. They won the boys JV, or they won the JV game, and they won the varsity boys game. The Benjamin Russell girls did take care of business there. But in terms of, and we'll talk about the girls team, this girls team coached by Latricia Moon, they've been doing a tremendous job. Very young team. They only have 2 seniors, I think, on the team, maybe only 1 if I'm not mistaken. They have minimal seniors. So this is a class that's full of sophomores and juniors. They have a couple of freshmen that played last year that were starters, and so they've started to really transition. One of those players who has been a Lake Martin Sports Roundup Player of the Week is LaHope Westbrooks, and she's just one of those players who
dominant.
She can dominate a game. She can shoot from the outside, plays great defensively, can get her own shot off. And when I was kind of making a joke last week about the speed of the game, but the whole speed of the game in basketball is fast. But on the girls' side, you'd be very surprised at how athletic and just how great some of these girls really are. And we get to see that every year with the finals in Birmingham. But in terms of the boys, didn't really turn out the way that you would hope for a Benjamin Russell fan. It's been a tough season for the Wildcats. This is one of the first years in a while because of the depth in which the football team went in terms of their season. Didn't really have the opportunity to have a full squad when the season started. So that was the difference this year. But this class has really done a great job senior-wise on the basketball side. You have Shannon Woody and Timmy Lawson and Quinn Reese, a couple of other seniors and Tay Johnson, who have kind of been staples, but they just can't seem to finish at the end. And they were right there with them, but ultimately Cougars got hot. They had a couple of three-point shooters who were able to get hot late in the game, and that kind of stymied any progress that the Wildcats were trying to make. But overall, Coach Hines has done a great job. And again, we talk about it sometimes with Horseshoe Bend. You look at the record and you say, what's going on there? But in terms of effort and how hard they're playing and how well they're coached, you can't combat any of that in terms of what the Wildcats are doing. So we will say congratulations to the Cougars in winning this rivalry game. But they'll have the opportunity to host the Wildcats in a couple of weeks, so we'll see how it goes there. But again, I encourage everyone to attend as many of these athletic events as possible. And as Johnny alluded to, our wrestling team hosting a match tonight, and a couple of other schools that have come in. So we're really excited about the transition of going from football to some of these winter sports, and so getting primed for the spring as well. And kind of talking about basketball, we've had 2 guys who were from Coosa and Benjamin Russell. Ronnie Stacy now at Oregon State, and you have Xavier Moon, who's at Morehead State, so that they are both teams or both players who have made it on to the next level. So I kind of wanted to give a recap of some of what they've been doing this year. And with Ronnie, he's his highest game so far. He's only averaging 4 points on the season, but he was a couple weeks ago against Southern Oregon. He had 14 points and was the player of the game, so that's a pretty cool thing for him there. And on the other side, you look at somebody like Xavier Moon, who, if you guys remember him, was such a tremendous scorer. He kind of put on a show. He was somebody that was scoring 30 points a game for the Cougars, and he goes on to on the collegiate level, and he's been doing the same thing, and we're really excited for him. And he's somebody who's averaging 14.5 points a game. So his high on the year was 25 against Central Arkansas. So
he's playing ball.
Yeah, he's playing ball. He's averaging about 25, 30 minutes a game. So he's a very valuable piece into what they've been doing. But
I got a question for you. You have like the background story. How did Ronnie Stacy end up at Oregon State?
He went to a JUCO in Texas,
Gotcha.
and story behind that, actually, there was almost an opportunity for him to go to Auburn. Like, they were trying to set up a recruiting visit for Ryan to come home and check him out, but the timing of things didn't really work out. Would have loved to have a Lake Martin area native have the opportunity to play for one of the schools in state, but ended up there, and goes to Oregon State, and he plays a lot. Now, he's an overall player, so he was somebody who may not score 15, 20 points a game, but he's getting 7, 8 points here and there, 6 assists, 4 rebounds. So he's a very valuable piece, a very knowledgeable player. He came through his AAU game. He was very active in the AAU scene coming through high school. So while people do have varying opinions of that, what are your thoughts on that? What on the AAU
Thoughts as far as what?
In terms of, does that diminish? A lot of times, if you have a star player, for example, then you have these handlers, and you get that's how people talk about football, but basketball is one of the most crooked sports in terms of interference, because you have so many handlers, you have shoe deals, you have a team that's been sponsored by Nike or whatever, so that's how these things happen. I just know if you think, is it beneficial, you think, to have that other outlet?
I think it is if it's ran right, but like you said, there's so much behind the scenes stuff going on and everything, but that's how all your players get recognized. I mean, I think it's huge, and I think you're going to see that more with youth football. I think you're already seeing that now with travel baseball. I think it's just the way all sports are going to go. Because I know not necessarily in our state, in our area, but South Florida and Florida in general, Pee Wee football is the biggest thing around. Mm-hmm. I mean, you have these teams who have different uniforms every weekend. They're traveling. They're playing nationwide games and all kinds of stuff. And I think it's kind of set up the same way as AAU basketball. I just think that's just the way to be seen. I mean, there's so many ways today to get your name out there with social media and everything else that, playing in these circuits and playing in these tournaments is the best way to get you that scholarship. Well,
speaking of scholarships, that'll run us into our first break of the evening, and when we return, we'll talk to Margaris Buchanan, who is a Dayville native and Dayville Tiger, who will now let us know where he committed to. Very excited for him. So we'll go ahead and take our first break of the evening. More of the Lake Martin Sports Roundup show right after this.
This fall on a special 30 for 30 seconds. What if I told you that S&S Discount Tire values your time, and SNSDiscountTire.com gives you control of selection, pricing, scheduling, and more. This fall, experience the emotion of value at S&S Discount Tire in Alex City and Dadeville, where they install a peace of mind. Or SNSDiscountTire.com.
If you've ever lost someone close to you, you know how important compassion is in a difficult time.
At the ceremony, their warmth and kindness meant everything to me.
Our caring staff will help you make your plans with sensitivity, compassion, and respect. Call Radney Funeral Home at 256-234-2511 or Langley Funeral Home at 256-896-2571. Your hometown funeral homes.
Have land and want to build? Need land and want to build? Your friends at America's Home Place have you covered without the outrageous per square foot cost of other home builders. America's Home Place of Opelika has over 200 floor plans with unlimited customizable options for size and luxury. Your land can be your equity. And now ask about our close to the lake lots. America's Home Place in front of USA Shopping Center in Opelika. For details, call 334-364-0058 or visit us online at americashomeplace.com.
At U.S. AmeriBank, there's something very different at the heart of what we do and who we are. It's a spirit that also defines our neighbors, local businesses, and communities. Building on our 116-year history in Alabama, U.S. AmeriBank provides something found nowhere else: craft banking. It's an unwavering commitment to handcrafted banking solutions that turns customers into enthusiastic fans. Visit usameribank.com for your local branch to discover the U.S. AmeriBank difference. U.S. AmeriBank, banking on values. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
For over 60 years, people in East Central Alabama have relied on the team at Jackson Refrigeration for the highest standards in heating and air installation and service. Now they've expanded into A1 Four Seasons Heating and Air, a division of Jackson Refrigeration, and you can still count on their reputation to make your comfort their priority with quality Goodman products with the best warranty in the industry. Whether it's new construction or a complete unit change, Jackson Refrigeration and A1 Four Seasons Heating and Air, the go-to team for over 60 years, where your comfort is our priority.
DHK Tire is Dadeville's full-service garage with personal service from hometown folks you know and trust. DHK Tire can get any style or make of tire you need for any vehicle at great prices. And they also offer used tires for anyone's budget. DHK can handle all your maintenance needs like oil changes, alignments, heating and cooling, as well as a full alternator and starter needs. Let your vehicle go all the way at DHK. DHK Tire on South Street in Dadeville.
Welcome back into the second segment of the Sports Blitz Lake Martin Sports Roundup Show. And Adam Blankenship and Scott Hardy here with you for the next 45 minutes or so. And as we talked about in our last segment, we have a very special guest tonight, Mr. Margaris Buchanan, who is a Dadeville Tiger and now a member of the Pearl River Community College basketball team, or excuse me, football team. He made his commitment this week, and so we just wanted to first say thank you for joining us and congratulations on the great honor.
Thank you for having me tonight.
Hey, no problem, man. We've enjoyed following you all season long. You're an absolute dynamic player. What was it about Pearl River that made you want to commit and play ball there?
I think like 2 weeks ago, I got like calls from the assistant coach, Coach Gerger, and he was just telling me his plan. You know, they had been recruiting me real heavy for probably the last 2 months now. So, you know, they were telling me, at first they would recruit me as an athlete, then their quarterback decided to part ways, so he was like, you come in and have immediate impact and compete for the quarterback position. You know, I look at it as another challenge. You know, I just wanted to go to Pearl River and, you know, play a little quarterback. So when that opportunity came, you know, I had to take it and run with it.
I got you. And so when we had the opportunity to talk to you a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month or so ago, you know, about your season and some of the things that were going on from a recruiting standpoint, you talked about the amount of calls and the visits that you would potentially be able to take. Now that it's over, what is that relief like? Or is there a sense of relief, rather, in terms of not having to deal with the phone calls and text messages as much?
It's kind of like fun, bittersweet, like knowing that it's all over now, because it was really fun. You know, I took every visit opportunity I could, and I really enjoyed myself through this process. You know, it wasn't an easy decision, but, you know, I'm kind of glad it's over, but it's all bittersweet because it was so fun.
Yeah, I bet so. And that was my question is did you enjoy the process? And I bet you did, of course. But my other question for you, and you kind of cleared that one up too, was what position you're going to be playing. So it's good to hear you say that you're going to be playing quarterback again. Everyone in this area has been able to follow you and keep up with you and know that you definitely won't have a problem with that. So I guess my main question is, what are your plans going in? Are you starting next fall, or are you going in early?
I'll be starting I'll be leaving soon after graduation, like starting summer. They're gonna let me play next fall, so I'll be leaving right after graduation. You know, I'm just ready. I'm excited to get in there and get going. You know, I'm an athlete at the position. You know, so the coach has been talking high on me. You know, he likes what I'm gonna bring to the table. So, you know, I'm just going up there looking to do what I did in high school, and that's make plays.
Again, we're with Margaris Buchanan, who is the newest member of the Pearl River Wildcats Community College football team, making his decision this week to continue his playing days there. And Margaris, going from now at Dadeville Tiger, where the Benjamin Russell Wildcats were a a rival of yours. Now you're going to play for a team that's the Wildcats. Do you know anything about about Pearl River community in general, or what are your thoughts on moving away from Dable and traveling to Mississippi?
It's kind of a tight-knit community, just like here at Dable. Them being the Wildcats, it's going to be a bit of a change because, I'm always going to be a Tiger in the heart. But now I'm a Wildcat, so, I'm just proud to be a part of the Pearl River family. And we just ready to get it. I'm excited, man. I'm ready to get this show on the road.
I got you. And again, Poplarville, Mississippi is where you'll be going. And in terms of where you'll be playing at the quarterback position, what type of system do they run? Is it something that'll be conducive to your skill set?
Oh, it's a similar offense to the one I ran this past year. They spread it out. They get the athlete the ball in space, and that's what we did good. That way we did a great job at Dable doing. So I fit right into what they're trying to build, and I was able to look into the system on my official. So I'm just ready. I'm ready to get going. I think I'm gonna go up there and make an immediate impact.
Marcus, we followed you all year, and I know towards the end of the season you kind of come up with a little injury there. How are you feeling now? Is everything good to go?
Oh yeah, I'm ready to go. I told my mama last night, as soon as I get up there on campus, I'm getting out the car running. I'm ready to go. I got my wheels back. I'm glad. I went through rehab and all with my hamstring, but I feel like I'm at 100 right now. I've been doing drills. I've been working on my craft. Protecting my craft. So I'm ready. I'm really just ready to get on the road.
Yeah, and again, you talk about your athleticism at the position. You also are a two-sport athlete. I know you said that you hadn't come back yet in terms of playing on the basketball team, but are you back playing with the Dable Tiger High School basketball team? And kind of give us a overview of how the season's been going so far.
Oh, I think they're doing pretty good. I just decided to part ways and just focus on track right now. Cause my mom didn't want me to come back on the court yet, so I just kind of part ways with it because I didn't know how long my recruiting process was gonna take, so I didn't want to be letting my team down by me taking visits on days we had games and stuff that matter. So I just decided to just finish my senior season, just run the track, my senior year running track.
Got you. Well, again, on behalf of Sports Blitz, I want to say congratulations on your new commitment and signing with the Wildcats. And so we'll try to do our best to keep up with you. And hopefully once you get settled in there, you'll be somebody that could be a person we call on to give us a little recap of what's going down in Mississippi.
Oh, yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Margaris.
We appreciate Margaris. And like you said, I'm going to be calling you next year now. You're going to go ahead and talk to us about your season, all right? We'll be keeping a note with you.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate
Thanks.
it.
Again, that's Margaris Buchanan, Dable Tiger quarterback, multi-sport athlete, somebody who's been a staple in terms of name recognition, and I'm sure you'll see some of the local accolades in terms of when they do their area players of the year. I'm sure he'll be around there. And again, that was Margaris Buchanan, Pearl River Wildcats Community College.
Outstanding athlete, fun to watch, good kid. Had the opportunity to meet him before the season, kind of connected with him a little bit there and kind of followed him throughout the years. Just, I think he's got a lot of good things ahead of him too.
Absolutely.
And it seems like he really has everything thought out too. The way he's
I like how he did about the basketball.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to punish my teammates. He's thinking. So that's huge, and we're proud of him for doing that. For
Absolutely proud of him. What we'll do right now is take another break, and when we return, Adam and I will talk a little bit about the skipping of bowl games by some of your premier players, and do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing? More of the Late Morning Sports Roundup show right after this.
Experience and knowledge from the pros. Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply. No matter the job or the size, Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply. Price match promise, top-notch service. From home decor to free delivery. Experience and knowledge from the pros. Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply.
JR's Sports Bar and Grill is the place where everyone knows your name. JR's on Alabama Street in Alex City has it all. Whether a family A quick bite for lunch or watching the big game. JR's staff will be serving up the best wings, tenders, burgers, and steaks. Have JR's cater any size event or just call JR's and they'll deliver it to your door. Whether you're just visiting or live around the corner, join your friends at JR's Sports Bar and Grill in Alex City, where everyone knows your name.
If you've been putting off that new heating and air unit in your home because of the upfront expenses, Williams Plumbing of Alexander City now has primary financing from Synchrony and can now install brand new heating and cooling systems with zero down, longer terms, and a competitive rate. Call Williams Plumbing at 256-329-8488 and get a free quote in terms and upgrade up to $35,000 in work with approved credit. Williams Plumbing stands behind their work with on-time affordable service for all your heating and air needs, as well as plumbing for zero down financing and great service. Williams Plumbing.
Don't let pests take your house or business over. Wave the red flag. Red Flag Pest, owned and operated by Scott Davis on Highway 280 in Jackson's Gap, is licensed, insured, and bonded, and serves the Lake Martin area, specializing in lake homes, residential property, and industrial property. Call for a free inspection today, 256-825-0430, and visit us online at redflagpestcontrol.com. Red Flag Pest Control, when the problem has to stop. Guaranteed.
Imagine a mattress designed to give you the optimum sleep experience. That's Optimum by Sealy Posturepedic, and you can get it at Holly's Home Furnishing. Optimum mattresses feature OptiCool gel memory foam, designed to help keep you in the temperature range that's scientifically proven to deliver a deep, relaxing sleep. Come in now and save up to $600 instantly on select Optimum mattress sets. Just because your partner moves during the night doesn't mean that you should. Optimum is designed to absorb motion, creating a calm, stable sleeping environment that lasts all night, every night. Go to Holly's Home Furnishings and get yours today on Highway 22 West in Alexander City.
The world is ever-changing. Make sure your choices are the right choices. At Central Alabama Community College, you'll know you made the best choice. Whether choosing a technical degree program, taking courses to transfer to a four-year college or university, or being a part of their national championship-winning traditions, Central Alabama will provide you with courses and degree programs in tune with today's workplace. Get a sharper focus on your life by choosing one of the 4 convenient locations: Alexander City, Childersburg, Talladega, and now in Millbrook. Central Alabama Community College. Central to you. Central to your success. CACC.edu.
Register now. Spring semester classes begin January 9th.
Welcome back here. About 35 minutes or so left in the Late March Sports Roundup program tonight. And again, week of Christmas, so we have something very special planned for you at the very end of the show. Adam and I will give a Dear Santa letter, a Christmas letter to Santa in terms of what we would wish for if we were an Alabama fan or an Auburn fan. So it'd be kind of cool to get different perspectives there. But as we talked about before the break, somewhat of a hot topic the last couple of days has been the skipping of bowl games. 2 premier players, Leonard Fournette and Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey, obviously the running back and star athlete for the Stanford Cardinals, and the LSU Tigers, obviously represented by Leonard Fournette, have decided to not play in the bowl game. A couple, you could say nagging injuries in terms of that, but the skipping of bowl games, where do you stand on that? Do you think that that's something that should be allowed?
I don't know. I'm kind of torn. All right, if you're injured, then I'm all for it. But at the same time, if you're not, man. And I've gone back and forth on it all day long. And my thing is, the main thing I'm really worried about is this going to become a trend? Is this going to be something that everybody's kind of watching to see how it goes for these two? Which Fournette is not going to matter. I'm more interested in McCaffrey. I don't think he's a first-round draft pick.
I think he'll grade out well.
He's not big enough.
I think he'll be. Somebody made a funny joke today and said he'll be. You'll look up and he'll be playing for the Patriots. Yeah, he'll be.
If he's not a Patriot, I don't know who he is.
He'll play for the Patriots, and they'll figure out a way to use him. He'll step up and take Edelman's spot.
Exactly.
And it'll be he's getting 100 catches a year for 800 yards and be somebody's PPR machine on a. Oh, speaking of PPR, and we'll wait a little bit on that too. I forget about that. But
I actually forgot too.
Yeah, dang man, it was that bad. But we.
But honestly, I'm torn on it. I feel like you can't blame these kids. You can't blame them. They've been to university, and Fournette's kind of iffy. All I hear all year long, all I've heard was he just loves playing football for LSU. He just misses playing. You don't know how much it means for him to play football for LSU. He didn't play all season, okay? It don't mean that much because he could have played this weekend, or he could play in the bowl game, but I don't guess he is. But I don't blame him for not doing that, risking injury, though, after seeing what happened last year. And you can't use the linebacker from Notre Dame who tore his knee up in the bowl game. You can't use that, for example, because that's a complete outlier. But the same foot, though, something needs to happen in order to make these kids want to play. You know, I'm not saying, or I may be saying, maybe if there was like a game check involved or something like that, you know, they could have a choice to play, and maybe a kind of option to see if they're going to or not. But you really can't fault the kids that are trying to potentially change their life as well as generations of their families' lives by going and getting ready for this draft and not risking an injury. And like you said earlier, college football is really the only postseason that doesn't matter outside of the 4-team playoff now. So I'm kind of torn. Initially,
I thought I kind of was anti this, and I didn't really like the fact that this was going to happen. But the more I think about it, if you look at the amount of money that is generated, especially by star players, and so it's not like, you know, there's going to, and that's the thing, there are going to be some guys that are first-round players on that LSU team who are not deciding to skip. So I'm not trying to set a precedent, but I think that that's what the NCAA is going to have to address in the offseason is these types of decisions. Does it hurt the integrity of the game? And so ultimately, the bowl games in general, it's kind of a letdown, honestly. We can kind of merge topics in terms of that, the importance of bowl games. But the way I look at it, the amount of money that these players, these two in particular, generated for their universities, I think that they should be compensated, as you said. If they're not going to be compensated for playing in the bowl game, and you're somebody like Fournette who, for all intents and purposes, is going to be projected as a top 10 pick, first-round pick, do you want to really risk any further injury? And when you talk about that, though, the NCAA is going to have to figure out a way to address that because the players themselves are starting to kind of take more of a initiative in terms of what they can and can't do. You've had players early in the year who say, you know, 3 games in, I'm not playing, I'm getting out. So is that going to be something they have to address? So anytime something's done, are you going to allow it to happen so that becomes a precedent for what's allowed to happen, or put a stop to it immediately? Because to a certain extent, it does hurt the integrity of the game somewhat, because now the Citrus Bowl between LSU and Louisville loses the same luster that it probably would have had Fournette played. You had Petrino, who was a potential candidate for the LSU job, and now him coming back. So it was 2 premier teams, but when you take out one of the best players in the country, stat-wise not, but projection-wise, one of the best players in the country, I think it does hurt the sport itself. But as a whole, kind of merging the importance of bowl games, I love watching them. Now, granted, I haven't watched any of these I hate to say these crappy games. I mean, you've had some pretty terrible games, and obviously our state hosts a game itself, so we're not knocking any of that. So we love the revenue that's presented from that or allowed from that. But as a whole, I'm not somebody who really cares about a lot of these bowl games. If you're a fan of Auburn, now granted, Auburn's going to the Sugar Bowl, and they kind of back their way into that. So that's a big-time game for a BCS Bowl and recognition to a certain extent. But as a whole, these games don't matter. If you don't make the Final Four, then what's the purpose in these games? You're not going to get anything extra. So it's the only sport where the postseason isn't as important as the regular season.
What I'm saying, and don't get it twisted here. I'm not saying that players need to be paid, because it's completely unfair that a Power 5 school can, or an Alabama, even looking in between that, even an Alabama can pay 1,000 times more than NC State or something like that. So I'm not saying pay players all the time, but I'm saying these schools they get checks and they get money for playing in these bowl games. So why not use some of that and split that up and divide it between some of the players? And if you're active and if you're on the active roster and you're playing or your normal role, then you get a percentage of that. It don't have to be huge, but it could be a couple $1,000 bonus right there, you know, for competing all season long and getting your school to this bowl game. So I think do something like that instead of paying players in general. But I think something like that could kind of incentivize some of these guys to get in there and play a little bit, because right now you really can't prove that they're just not playing, because Fournette, I think he's just not playing. But they're saying, well, he has an ankle injury. And anybody can do that. Well, there's an injury here, injury there. But you can't just say, all right, you've got to play in this right here. You got to tie it in some way. And the schools can't sit here and say, well, you didn't play here, so we're going to pull some of your scholarship back. You can't do that. So I think they should pay out of the bowl thing. And that should be – I don't think that's a huge transition into paying players.
No. Auburn's going to get $10 or $15 million to play in the BCS game. So obviously
$2,500 a player going to hurt, or
I guess the only thing, which is what's been the big thing in terms of paying players or receiving some type of monetary funds, is that, all right, so if you're Jalen Hurts, do you get more money than, say, the third string quarterback? So everybody gets
the same game check. Whether you're a sophomore on special teams, you get the same thing as the star running back. I mean, I just think it's a way to kind of keeps everybody happy. It kind of calms it down a little bit. And it provides some kind of incentive to play, and maybe the winning team gets more.
And Luke, yeah, I think he should be rewarded for winning. But Luke always brings up, this is, in which in certain instances it does help because like Auburn having some of their recruits like Stedman coming in, and he's been able to practice. He's early enrolled, so he's been practicing with the team and for bowl practice. But what does this really do? A month of practice, is it that beneficial? Yeah. For a team? I mean, you're going to be off for the next 4 months. So all that work you're doing, it doesn't really benefit you long term. So, if you're not really playing for the prize at the end, then there's really no incentive to really want to get up for these bowl games. And it used to be a big deal because you had just the AP poll, so you come out and you may win the game, and so you're ranked 3rd or 4th in the country when your bowl game, and so now you're going to have an opportunity to be the #1 team in the country. But now with the playoff system, again, if you're not in that Final Four, it's kind of a letdown. And so I would love to see some of these games, like this Louisville LSU game would have been a great regular season game. I'd love to see that happening. And that's something that was kind of talked about on some talk shows earlier today, is making the regular season as important as the regular season is in college football. Start making some of these games important. You usually you have a big kickoff weekend that's always a big deal, and then you have your rival weeks that are pretty big at the end. But the in-between games, outside of games within the SEC, you have a couple of games, Michigan, Ohio State, Florida State, Clemson, those types of games that are big. But as a whole, the regular season in college football, the in-between games is kind of a watered-down product itself too. But the importance of winning each game in college football is more important than any other sport, which is why in basketball, as great a game as that North Carolina-Kentucky game was, it didn't really matter.
Yeah, exactly. What's the point?
Yeah, so I think at some point you'll start to see more players do this. I just would hate to see this happen because what if it was Ezekiel Elliott a couple years ago or last year was like, I'm not playing in this game. I'm not going to do it. Like it waters it down some to me.
I just feel like though if people are going to go down that road of critiquing these players and criticizing these players for not playing in bowl games, then they turn around the same foot and criticize these coaches who leave their school for other jobs. You see tons. I'd say probably there's going to be 5 or 6 different colleges right now that's going into their bowl game with their special teams guys, the head coach. Nobody's talking about that. They're talking about because McCaffrey don't want to play and risk getting injured. Let's be fair about it. Let's criticize that and say, okay, well, if you're going to leave this job, you can't leave until the season's over with. Or if you're going to play, then you're going to play every game. You got to be fair with it. Just don't sit here and let these guys run around and make all this money and then put all the pressure again and all the blame again on all these players. It's just not right.
Yeah, and when you're dealing with 18 to 22-year-old kid, they're not thinking about it. At some point, they've already made their allegiance to you by coming to your university. Yeah. And you talk about somebody like Leonard Fournette, who is a homegrown product, and I think somewhat has been a letdown. I mean, he's going to be a great pro if he's able to stay healthy, but what you were expecting, somebody who was going to be a Heisman Trophy winner, and it had never really panned out that way. Now, McCaffrey finished second last year, but I think, like what you said, they're making the job. I think he'll be the perfect Patriot. Like, that'll just, he'll be hands down one way. I think he'll be a good pro, too. I think he's an upgrade from a Danny Woodhead type. I don't want to compare those two types of players, but he's more of like a Deion Lewis. I think he could be a Deion Lewis type. I hate when you kind of get profiled.
I don't think he's big enough. I think he has to go to a team like the Patriots. I was looking at some mock drafts today, and they had him going to the Raiders. That's not going to work. He's got to go to that perfect fit, and I think the only real fit is the Patriots, man. He's just that Patriot is what he is. I mean, they need one more white guy to catch the ball. That's what they do.
You said that, I didn't. So we'll take another break, and we'll return. We'll talk a little bit about the NFL draft. You brought that up, and some of the strategy behind certain positions being picked, and whether or not you would take Leonard Fournette or a running back in general in the top 10 or in the first round. More of the Late Morning Sports Roundup show right after this.
We have a promise to keep with this community, our pledge of respect for your family and your needs in every funeral arrangement.
A funeral is a time that calls for consideration.
For that reason, we won't consider anyone else.
For a full range of funeral services with sensitivity compassion, and respect. Call Radney Funeral Home at 256-234-2511 or Langley Funeral Home at 256-896-2571. Your hometown funeral homes.
At U.S. Ameribank, there's something very different at the heart of what we do and who we are. It's a spirit that also defines our neighbors, local businesses, and communities. Building on our 116-year history in Alabama, U.S. Ameribank provides something found nowhere else: craft banking. It's an unwavering commitment to handcrafted banking solutions that turns customers into enthusiastic fans. Visit usameribank.com or your local branch to discover the U.S. Ameribank difference. U.S. Ameribank. Banking on values. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
When you need plumbing service, call on the professionals at A&M Plumbing LLC. We are your dealer for Nature's Miracle state-of-the-art water filtration systems, providing sales and installation of systems for your whole house or under sink. Join our Diamond Club and enjoy many benefits and services while saving money and getting priority service scheduling. We offer financing, and our services include a 1-year satisfaction guarantee. All our technicians are trained, background tested, drug screened, and wear photo IDs to ensure your safety and peace of mind. Our knowledgeable staff will be happy to answer any of your questions. So call A&M Plumbing LLC today.
Walls Tire, just a mile past the bridge on Highway 280, is the Lake Martin area's complete automotive solution. At Walls, you'll find a dedicated staff offering top quality service from routine maintenance to a full engine overhaul and everything in between. Brian Walls and the folks at Walls Tire are local folks that you know, and they provide the best service, always at a fair price. Find out what the rest of the Lake Martin area already knows. Walls Tire is the Lake Martin area's complete automotive solution. Just a mile past the bridge on Highway 280.
Attention bow hunters and archers. Archery Connection has 30,000 square feet of wall-to-wall archery. Bows, crossbows, and hunting supplies. Purchase a bow or crossbow and receive free service for life, free archery lessons for life, and 1 week of shooting on our indoor range. Video archery, or our 45-yard indoor sight and range. Archery Connection is your one-stop shop for all your hunting and archery needs. Come see us at Archery Connection in Phoenix City, Alabama, where hunters and archers connect.
Auburn Opelika has that perfect something for you. From sophisticated chic boutiques to exceptional dining, there's a retailer or restaurant to make your next visit special. Whether it's elegant fine dining or freshly squeezed lemonade, you'll find the perfect fit for every taste and budget. The food's great and the shopping is too, so be sure to check out the wide array of gifts, decor, clothing, and more. For every occasion, Auburn Opelika has what you're looking for. Let's make your next trip memorable. Visit Auburn Opelika.
Breaks in between our shows, a lot of good topics take place.
We have better ratings on our breaks than we do.
Absolutely. So we again, this is our Christmas edition of our show, and our mascot, the Lake Martin Sports Roundup Eagle. That's tough. But yeah, as we had talked about before, and we'll kind of combine two of the topics we had left we wanted to talk about, which is spending a top 10 pick on Leonard Fournette or running back in general. Is the running back position used in the NFL to a point to where depth is such a more of a usage than having that heavy guy of usage in just a one back, or would you rather go with the one back like a Fournette, like kind of what the Cowboys did with Ezekiel Elliott?
I think it was the perfect storm with the Cowboys and Ezekiel Elliott. They have a dominant offensive line. They needed a running back really bad, and he just fit their system. I mean, I think he's a unicorn, to be honest with you. I think he's the best running back in the league, hands down already. But I think that the same foot, though, a lot of teams are going to start to reach for that next guy, and I kind of feel like Fournette's that reach. Some of the mock drafts I've seen have him going 3 to Jacksonville. I don't think it's going to work out near as well as Zeke going to the Cowboys. I can't spin that pick. Two things I don't like. I don't like taking a running back really early, and I don't like reaching for a quarterback just because you need a quarterback. So I kind of feel like that might be the case right there with Fournette, to be honest with you. And I think he's going to be great. He was so good a couple years ago in college football, but the injuries and a year off kind of seems to mess things up a little bit.
Yeah, and I guess I think what you said about the Cowboys is true. Like the way that team is set up with a great offensive line, you already had the skill position player on the outside with Des Bryant, and going in you thought you were going to have Tony Romo, so that's how that was drafted. So that team was set up nicely, and also Dak with a nice win this week. But but anyway, I think Leonard Fournette could be a very special player. He's the highest rated running back since AP, and people said the same thing about Gurley too. And I think it really just matters where you go.
Saw what happened.
Where you go. So if Gurley had gone to the Cowboys, he'd be doing the same thing.
He would be the guy right now, because I saw a stat where Ezekiel Elliott leads the league in most rushes before being touched. Most rushes before being touched before 10 yards. So he has double digits runs where he's not even being touched the first 10, 15 yards of his carries. It's all about where you go. Like you said, I think you hit it on the head perfectly. If Gurley went there, then he would be the hot guy right now too.
And so, that's kind of just an interesting take, and that's going to be something that for the next 4 months, draft in April, the next 4 months, they're going to be talking about, the projection of him. And even something like Christian McCaffrey, would you draft him in the first round? I know he was a great collegiate player, but would you reach, or would you rather go get that defensive end, that pass rusher that you need, that left tackle to solidify that offensive line? And I think that really is where the money is being spent now in the NFL outside of the quarterback position. Your left tackle and your edge rusher are people that are getting paid now. And so it's definitely warranted, because you see what somebody like a Clowney and J.J. Watt, those types of players, and what Julius Peppers been able to do, so along with the Broncos have on their team, and just all these teams that are successful, they have that outside pass rusher or multiple pass rushers. The Giants, the same way, built their defense for years with that. So it'll be interesting in the next few months to see where these types of players go. And if I'm depending on who I am, I probably get him. As long as he doesn't go to the Browns, I think he could be successful. That's probably more so.
It's going to be interesting. But you hit on a key thing there, is taking the guy that you need. Don't reach for the running back. I think one of the things that's kind of overlooked is a couple of years ago when the Cowboys were drafting, Johnny Manziel was on the board. And they were thinking, oh, Jerry loves Johnny, that he's going to take Johnny. But he took Zach Martin instead, who is probably one of the best offensive linemen in the league. And that's where it starts right there. For once, he made one of the best decisions for the franchise, and that's what you got to do. Whenever the time's right to get that guy, then you can. But I feel like running back's one of the easier positions to replace in the entire league.
Yeah,
a good pass rusher, a good offensive lineman is almost. You can't put a price on that.
And kind of leading that in and putting a price on something. The days of watching Ocho Cinco were very entertaining from a fan perspective, and obviously our producer Michael Forehand, a huge fan of his, and he made his rounds on Fox Sports, and they brought up the aspect of him being a Hall of Famer. Real quickly before we go to break, I just want to kind of get your thoughts on, do you think he's Hall of Fame worthy?
7,000-yard receiving games, 82 touchdowns, 6-time Pro Bowler, 3-time NFL All-Pro, on 7 Bengals records, 26 all-time receiving yards. He is not a Hall of Famer. This is just not it, man. His numbers look good. He's great and everything, but he's never won a playoff game. He's never caught a touchdown in the playoffs, and he has like 100 yards in the playoffs. 26 all-time is great. He's good, but I feel like in this day and age, you're going to see receivers doing that all the time now, is where the league is going. So I say no. Great. He's like almost Hall of Fame. Like he's a nominee, but I don't think he gets in.
I'll just let Adam have that one. That kind of is where I was going. So what we'll do is take our final break of the evening, but I do think he should be in at some point, though. I'll say that.
Well, there's no one else to put in.
It'll be a while, but he'll get in. But when we come back, we'll have our final segment of the night, and something we've been promising, our letters to Santa from Auburn and Alabama fans. More of the Late Morning Sports Roundup show right after this.
What value would you gain working with Lee Marketing Group? With 4 divisions under one umbrella, Sign Source, Lee Apparel, R&B Media, and LMG Baker Advertising Agency, Lee Marketing Group offers a comprehensive approach. From logo design and branding to ad placement and everything in between, LMG can handle it all. For ease of time, cutting-edge, results-driven marketing campaigns, think LMG. Lee Marketing Group, your comprehensive marketing solution.
Meet the new Met of East Central Alabama, David Chabot. By new Met, we mean MetLife Auto and Home. With MetLife's 146-year reputation and David's 18 years of local insurance experience, you and your family get the best coverage, rates, and service for auto, home, life, or business. Ask about MetLife's Grand Protect policy. If your home were destroyed by a covered loss, MetLife pays the full replacement cost. No depreciation and no cap. That's the peace of mind that only MetLife can deliver. Meet the new Met, David Chabot of MetLife Auto and Home, 334-321-7250 or davidchabot.metlife.com. Boaters in the Lake Martin area know whether you need service, maintenance, repairs, a great selection of pre-owned boats, or a brand new Landau pontoon. Alex City Marine at the corner of 63 and 280 is there for you. Thanks to a record-setting sales year, Alex City Marine now has one of the finest pre-owned inventories they've ever had. Repairs, service, routine maintenance for all your boating needs. See the pros the locals know. Alex City Marine at the corner of 63 and 280. Check them out online at alexcitymarine.com.
Got your eye on a new Nissan? It's time to zero in on huge savings at Lynch Nissan of Auburn. 0% financing is back in a big way on many of your favorite Nissan models, but only for a limited time. Buy today and save up to $11,000 off MSRP on remaining 2016s as we make room for the 2017s. Get up to $5,000 off MSRP on the new Rogue SL or 0% for 72 months. Just click it and pick it now at lynchnissan.com. Lynch Nissan of Auburn, I-85 at exit 51.
My parents got good news the other day. Mommy and Daddy were really happy. This is how happy they were. They were actually dancing. That was hard to watch. Ooh, at least they didn't kiss.
Russell Medical Center, delivering future leaders of tomorrow, today.
Find everything you need for the perfect outdoor living space at Russell Do-It Center, like the Fire Rock Outdoor Conventional Fireplace, smartly designed masonry systems that are easy to install and are less than half the cost of a scratch-built brick and mortar fireplace. Weber Grills, the best outdoor gas, electric, and charcoal grills, which always come pre-assembled. Yeti Coolers, premium coolers and accessories that are the ultimate in design, performance, and durability. Russell Do-It Center, experience and knowledge from the pros.
Sports Blitz, Lake Martin Sports Roundup show. We've had a great show. We've had the opportunity to talk to now the Pearl River Wildcat Community College football player, commit, Mr. Margaris Buchanan. So congratulations again to him and looking forward to some big things. But as we promised, we have our letters to Santa from a Auburn and Alabama fans perspective, but in reverse. So Adam, take off with it.
I mean, I channel my inner Barn right here, okay, on this. I put a lot of thought into it. You know, I kind of feel good about it, but here goes. Dear Santa, Earl here. Got a second? Oh, there's a good one right there. Thanks again for the new Jumbotron, the largest in the nation. You can really see the wheels fall off the Gus bus from anywhere in the stadium now. Even though I don't think you or your helpers hooked up the scoreboard correctly. The home score won't go past 13 on most nights for some reason, but that's neither here nor there. Hey, we made the Sugar Bowl this year, and those Bammers only made the Chick-fil-A Bowl. War Eagle to that, am I right? Well, not too much to ask for this year since we got Stidham already, but here goes. We need a GPS for the Eagle in pregame. He seemed to have a little trouble this year flying straight to the field. Watch out for those goalposts. I need another contract extension for Gus because 8 and 5 coaches are hard to come by. Another kicker that we can use in the slot because we got to have a guy that we can count on crucial third downs. Plus, you save a scholarship by having a guy multi-talented. Last but not least, or another one, is a 10-win season. We've only had 2 of those in the past 9 years, so it'd be nice to see that every now and then, too. A new Cam Newton jersey, and last but not least, please allow Nick Satan to take the Rams job. He's got to be going, right? Heard Miss Terry was being being spotted on Rodeo Drive down there in L.A. last week. Thanks again, Saint Nick. Santa.
I'm pretty impressed. The intro was good with the got a second. I did like the Jumbotron, but I kind of did a list of mine. I'm not mad at you. I'm impressed with that one. But we'll go from the Bama side, from an Auburn perspective. Dear Santa, I can't believe it's that time of year again. I've been a very good boy this year, so there should be no doubt of me being on the nice list. You delivered on all that I asked for in 2015, so hopefully that can be replicated for 2016. I'll try and keep this short and sweet because I know you're a busy fellow. So here's my Christmas wish list for this year. As big a fan of yours as I am, I love our own version of St. Nick a little bit more. Is there any way you can keep him and Miss Terry around forever? Speaking of keeping around forever, how about lifetime contracts for both Jay Jacobs and Gus Malzahn? I don't think anything would be sweeter. Number 3, could you arrange for someone to teach me how to give what my dad calls a $100 handshake? Those sound like fun. Can you ask our country's car manufacturers to design a new ride? I think the coolness of Dodge Chargers have worn off with our players. Can JJ please have one more season as a starting quarterback for Auburn? I think we all would enjoy that. And lastly, and not least, I think this is the most important gift of all. Could you please ask Lane Kiffin to just run the dang ball? Until next year, roll Tide. P.S. Seriously, run the dang ball, Lane. So, that's I think those are pretty quality things from both sides there.
I thought it was a fun segment.
Yeah, so
it's nice to put on my orange and blue colored glasses every now and then and get inside of the head of the ball.
Oh, yeah. It was. I despise that. But anyway, Blank, it's been a great show. It's the last one before Christmas. So Merry Christmas to you and your family. I hope you have a great holiday as well. And so to our viewers out there, we appreciate you tuning in as you do each and every week. And we look forward to catching up with you next week. For our producer, Michael Forehand, my bud, Adam Blankenship, I'm Scott Hardy saying thanks for tuning in to the Late Morning Sports Roundup Show, Sports Blitz with Luke, Brett, and Andy up next.
Sport.
S&S Tires grown into the Lake Martin area's largest volume tire dealer. S&S Tire offers the industry's best brand names: Michelin, Goodyear, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Firestone, and much, much more. The tire pros at S&S offer professional installation and the region's best price. In addition to your tire needs, S&S offers full automotive mechanical work for all your vehicle maintenance and repair needs with the area's most experienced staff. Visit either of our 2 locations on Cherokee Road in Alex City or at South Street in Dadeville. At S&S Tire, we're installing peace of mind for every customer we serve. Every job, every